Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm a global artist ambassador for FENIX360, and I'm blessed to be joined today by the writer SIYA KUHMALO. Hello, SIYA. How you doing?
I'm well, thanks. And how are you, John?
I'm doing well too. Thanks, SIYA. I appreciate you being with me. And SIYA, I would love to share some of the writing works that you have created with our audience. Okay, if we tune into that now?
Sure.
Okay, terrific. All right, everyone, let's look at some of the writing creation from SIYA KUHMALO.
Welcome back. In his debut book titled You Have to Be Gay to Know God, Durban-born writer SIYA KUHMALO gives an honest account of his views on sexuality, religion and politics. The read also describes his experiences of growing up in a Christian setting, as well as how he had been humiliated and judged for being gay and eventually coming out and fully accepting who he is. Well, SIYA is here with us in studio and he's going to talk to us more about his journey as he documented it in his offering. SIYA, great to have you on Morning Live. You look phenomenal. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the title of the book. It certainly has a lot of tongue wagging, even amongst us here in studio. What is the significance behind it, and what does it actually mean that you have to be gay to know God?
Well, what I've noticed is that a lot of abuses that come from churches or other institutions are normally examined from a very heteronormative lens or from a very straight people lens. But you often have to be gay to realize, for an example, that the kind of abuse you'd get, you're looking at the Omotoso rape trial, for an example, the kind of abuse you'd get there is because a lot of religious institutions view sex as a tool with which men can maintain their power over women, which is also the reason they cannot stomach the idea of same-sex romance or relationships, because they never view romance or they never view sexuality as a tool that humans can use to express healthy connections. They view it as something that is used to abuse, which is why the same churches that give us homophobic teachings are the same churches that turn around and inflict or perpetrate abuse on women. So it's two sides of the same coin. You have to be gay, you have to be on the margins of the system to see it from the outside, to see it for what it really is, and to develop a richer, deeper, and more legitimate spirituality.
SIYA, great, man. Really cool to share your work with our audience. Thank you. And now I'm interested in learning about you and kind of your journey in becoming a writer. Where are you from and how did you get involved in writing?
Well, I'm from South Africa. I was born on the east coast of the country, KwaZulu-Natal. I now live in Johannesburg. And I started off as a blogger, mostly writing about religion, politics, and sex. So I was very passionate about social justice, about sexual justice. In South Africa, we have the strange reality where we have gay rights, LGBTI rights on paper, but the lived reality and the lived experience is very different for many people. And that's also the case across the continent. So I became vocal about the intersection of politics and religion and sexuality. And that culminated in a book titled You Have to Be Gay to Know God, and will inform a lot of my next project as well.
Well, SIYA, that takes a lot of courage. And I really appreciate the fact that you took it upon yourself to actually create and be a beacon for awareness and generating inclusion and trying to basically empower others about these inconsistencies so that we can create a more harmonic experience in your own country, and that ripples throughout the world. So thanks for your contribution in that way. And as far as the writing is concerned, were you inspired by other writers that made you want to, start working in the social space and start blogging about these different areas of interest and that you feel like needed a voice to fight for,
Absolutely. At different levels though. So for an example, there's a writer named Sisonke Msimang. The way she writes has inspired me, the issues she focuses on and her passion for justice. There's another one, his name is Eusebius McKaiser. He's a philosopher. The way he unpacks issues, both in writing and as a broadcast journalist, I've been fixated on him for years. Then there's a Catholic philosopher, I think he lives in Boston. His name is Professor Peter Kraft. There are others from the States, like Gregory Andrew Boyd, Professor Gregory Andrew Boyd, also into theology. So it's a strange mix. I mean, the reason I'm interested in science fiction now is C.S. Lewis, of all people. Right. Most of us know him for Narnia, but he's actually written science fiction. And it's not my kind of science fiction, but the themes he explores are becoming more and more relevant. as we go deep into the fourth industrial revolution. So it's a strange bag of inspirers. That's what it is.
But that's great that you're touching on, you know, and bringing these influences from a lot of different areas in order to culminate into your own passions. And C.S. Lewis, of course, I mean, the brilliance that comes from some of the insights from C.S. Lewis are amazing. And I love learning about some of the other inspirators whom you've made reference. So I appreciate that as well. Now, let me ask this question. What are you working on now, SIYA? What's coming up for you?
Sure. And I love the way we've now agreed that inspirators is a word.
Yes, it is.
We coined it. It is what it is. I'm now working on a science fiction novel. It started off as nonfiction, very much inspired by Professor Noah Yuval Harari. So some of the things he writes about transhumanism and about economics and history. So he's a history professor. And I took some of that. I applied it to my own context. I kept submitting it to the publisher, and she kept replying, this could work better as a science fiction novel. When I pitched that story to her, she said, now we're talking. And then I pitched it at a fellowship. So it's the University of Johannesburg runs a writing fellowship. I'm there now.
Okay.
That's the residence I'm staying at now, working on this project. So I've got another 3 months on it. So it's a 4-month residential fellowship. So that's how that's going.
Well, congratulations. And I'm really looking forward to how that might culminate into the final creation. And I love also the initial book that you published. I wonder whether or not you might share some insight about the book.
Yes. So that book was called You Have to Be Gay to Know God. And it was a strange one because I wrote it as a love letter to Christians. So it was a lot of it was Christian theology, where I said, look, you read the Bible, I read it as well, and I came to very different conclusions. Here's how I understand all of these verses. And then the publisher told me, you have to turn this into a memoir. Tell us where you're coming from first, then expand into your worldview, and then go into the theology and the religious experiences. So it started off as a very sanitized book. It ends up with a 9-page sex scene. It ends up with social political commentary, and then a few pages of Bible commentary. And it's since been longlisted for the Alan Payton Award, shortlisted for another prize, and then won the Desmond Tutu Gerrit Brand Prize. So I'm very proud of the impact it's had locally. And I'm hoping at some point it will get a broader, more international audience, because some of the issues, I think, are very universal. They're about human rights, they're about belief systems and all of those things.
Well, you know, it sounds like it also has a real powerful way of sharing understanding from your perspective and actually inviting people to look at things from a different perspective, you know, maybe different than the way they were brought up, or that they've been, where they feel is what the right way is that they have to act or respond to the social world around them. So at any rate, I appreciate your voice. And also, is that book available on Amazon?
Yes.
It is. Excellent. Okay. Great. Well, and how about your social channels now? Are you still involved in blogging, SIYA?
No. So now I write opinion columns on a platform called News 24. And I've pretty much just, there isn't time to do that and blog.
Yeah, understood.
But I am active on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I usually use the handle SIYA the Writer, just across the board, just to simplify things.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, listen, we're going to post those links for you below our interview today, SIYA, and we're also going to be looking forward to you rising on the FENIX360 app. And so thank you so much for joining me. I want everyone to tune into the social media links you see below for SIYA KUHMALO, and go out there and get his book on Amazon and look for his next creation coming up soon. And thank you, brother, for being with me, man.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, pleasure's mine. Take care.
It's Pride Week in Joburg from today. Now, it's a chance for the LGBTI community to celebrate who they are without being judged. The week also encourages people to be more open to the diversity that we have in our society. Well, one man has written a book documenting the challenges he's endured as a gay man in South Africa. SIYA KUHMALO is joining us now in the studio. Mtungwa, good morning, and thank you very much for coming through to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Your book, I've been talking about it since 6 o'clock, telling our viewers that it's coming, and I haven't read it yet, and I've seen it being described in different ways by those who are reviewing it, who've reviewed it, and they're calling it a riveting book. And when you read the title, you wonder what's in it. You have to be gay to know God. That title, will make people want to buy this book and read it. What's inside here at an overriding, in an overriding way, overriding sense first, before we delve into other issues?
Well, to root it in current events, what's in here is an explanation for why, for an example, being gay gives you a vantage point from which you can see how the hypocrisy of the church around human sexuality will give us the kind of situations we have now with the Cheryl Zondi and the Omotoso rape trial. We see a church or a religious establishment, and society follows it to a huge extent, where there is a systemic subjugation of women's bodies or female bodies by men. And the reason gay men or gay people, the LGBTI community, has been ostracized is that we just didn't play along. So oppression was supposed to be a group effort. Everyone was supposed to sign up for the institutions that exist in society, and some of us just didn't. It's time to take a look in the mirror, as it were, mirror, mirror on the wall. It's time to introspect and find out where we could improve as a society.
Yeah. What would you tell us? If somebody's reading this book, what should they take out of it?
What they should take out of it is that loved people love people. Judged people judge people, and you will always treat other people the way you are treating yourself. It's that conversation you're having with yourself on some subconscious level is what to take out on other people. So when we see any form of discrimination or ugliness in the world, it really is a reflection of how people feel about themselves. So it comes back to that introspection. We can't face our inner monsters, so we often make other people out to be the monster. That's what's happening.
Okay, SIYA, thank you very much, Mtungwa.
Thank you
All
for
the
having
best. I look forward to getting a copy and reading it.
Awesome.